Hello and welcome. I'm Brittany.
I'm Kelly.
And we hope this podcast blows your tits off. This is Smutswap. It's a Smut Clurb book of the month. But first, as always, we'll talk about what we're currently reading. You can go first.
I'm still reading You Are a Badass, which I mentioned last pod, as well as How to Kill Your Husband and Get Away with It. What else am I reading?
Did you finish The Glutton?
I finished The Glutton this morning.
Wonderful.
I need to rank it on Fable. I've tried twice and have gotten interrupted each time.
Fuck.
I'm still reading. What is it? Alive and Wells? No.
Yeah, Alive and Wells.
Is it Alive and Wells?
Yeah.
That felt wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, and I am reading Enchantra.
Are you?
Yeah.
That's the second one?
Yeah.
For the
Wicked Games from Phantasma.
Phantasma.
Oh
Okay.
my God. Okay. I love it.
Really?
I literally love it.
Because it's the sister.
More than Phantasma.
Okay.
Okay.
I may try it because I wasn't enamored with Phantasma.
Oh, I love Phantasma.
I had some issues with it.
But I also don't read a lot of fantasy, so that could be
That could be it.
that could be what it is.
That could be it.
I just don't read fantasy. Yeah, it's a better sister. Love it. We had 2 new people today join the Smut Clurb.
Did we really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I got the notification. So,
that's exciting. So if
It's-
you're watching, welcome.
and it's always linked in the description, whether you listen to this on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or Spotify. And while we're talking about it, leave us a rating because I'm feeling a little jealous that the boys have ratings on Spotify and we only have 1. They have like 7 5-star reviews.
Really?
We have 1.
Oh, gosh.
So
Is 7 the max?
I don't know.
Okay.
They have like 13 followers.
And on that note, I need to make a public service announcement.
Yeah.
That way we can make a TikTok off of this. But if you are seeing this, please go follow us on Spotify.
Yeah.
You can hear more of this bullshit.
Yeah. We're just clipping on TikTok
Yes.
from the YouTube video, which is from the fucking Spotify.
Yes. Go and listen to us. We are funny. We will
Yes.
literally blow your tits off.
Literally.
Right off you.
Let off of your body, Tony.
Yeah. So please, if you're watching this.
He was like, "You're ruining my reputation."
Oh, what did he say?
Yeah. Oh, because we kept joking about him last episode, and he was like, "You're literally going to ruin my reputation."
Aw.
I was like, "We didn't say your full name, dude.
No.
You're fine." He's like famous on both podcasts.
Is he really?
Yes, we talked about him. We talk about him on the Boys podcast too.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, we're talking about Wild Love today by Elsie Silver. It is Rose Hill Book 1, which Kelly sent me a TikTok today. Apparently,
Yes.
it's going to be a television series on Amazon.
Which I'm excited. Like, I remember when I was reading this, I'm like, I feel like something of this nature, which I haven't, like, really
She's not in the
gotten into
Elsie-verse.
I'm not in the Elsie-verse. There's another book or another universe that you were reading about.
Chestnut Springs.
Yeah, Chestnut Springs. Like, I haven't really, like, dived into those.
Oh my
but
gosh.
I'm like, that would be perfect for somebody to pick up and make a show about all of
Yes.
these people.
Yes.
It'd be perfect.
So she has like 3 different series that are like almost fully out. The last book in the Rose Hill series comes out later this year, I think. And then there's going to be another one based off of a town called Emerald Lake. Or there is one based off a town called Emerald Lake. I've only read Chestnut Springs so far and then Wild Love. And I'm going to continue this series because I love her. So we're going to start. Do you want to go first or do you want me to?
You can.
Okay.
We're going to share the notes because I don't want to jump to mine because I am not as eloquent as Brittany. So I feel like it'll just be better to use hers.
The flow will be there, if you will.
Yes.
So, Ford Grant has just been named Forbes's hottest billionaire, which is a thing, I guess. I don't know. And his friend, Weston Belmont, will not let him live it down. Ford and West are in an old barn in Rose Hill, setting up a new production studio called Rose Hill Records. They go back and forth arguing about the Forbes article and how Ford refused to give any sort of statement on it. West is really excited that Ford's back in Rose Hill, citing, "Sorry, it will be just like old times where the two are constantly getting in trouble." Ford jokes about West getting in trouble and him watching, and when he mentions his little sister, Rosie, Ford kind of feels a little tense. We learn that Rosie has a master's degree and a fancy job in Vancouver.
I get these spam calls.
Me too.
They want me to
Sign for a loan?
sign
Yep.
for a loan, and I'm Not interested.
Same. So Rosie has her fancy degree and her fancy job in Vancouver. West and Ford then go back and forth about Ford joining West's bowling team, which Ford is like, fuck no, I'm very against that. Bowling for fun? No.
Who does that?
Who does that? West promises that he'll introduce him to Crazy Clyde, and then they're like still bickering when they hear a knocking at the door. This prompts them to lower the back and forth to a whisper, and then they hear a young girl's voice calling out, I can hear you whispering in there. She tells Ford that he's her father, biologically speaking, and that her name is Cora. Ford is like,
Wait, she says what?
My name's Cora, and you're my
No.
father.
Okay, I thought she said, I'm your father.
Biologically,
That's what you said.
Biologically speaking, you're my father. And my name's Cora. Ford's like, that's impossible because I've literally never fucked anybody who looks like Morticia Adams because Cora's a little goth girl. Cora calls him a Nepo baby and then asks him if he's ever fucked a Dixie cup, a Petri dish, or a sterile tube for a few extra bucks at any point in his life. And then he's like, well, yeah. I did. As a matter of fact, you're on the nose. In a pinch for some Rage Against the Machine tickets, I sure did donate my sperm. West then claps him on the shoulder and he's like, okay, well, I guess I'll see you at bowling. And then he leaves. Cora and Ford are then alone. Ford tells us that he feels like the world's most unprepared dad. It should be noted that I think all of the guys on the bowling team are dads.
I think they're all single dads.
Yeah, that's why it was important for me to point out that Ford will now be going because he is now a dad. Okay, there we go.
All right, chapter 2, we cut over to Rosie, who has just finished a presentation that she spent a long time preparing for. No one really pays her mind when the presentation is over, and she's kind of pep-talking herself to remind herself that she has done a good job and that she likes her job, or at least likes that she'll be debt-free soon because her job pays well. Anyway, as the room is clearing out, her boss, Stan, calls her over to assist him with something on a computer screen. As she's helping, he slides his hand over her ass. Yes, it's intentional. Which Rosie is flat out not okay with. She tells him as much and even goes so far as to say HR will be hearing about this.
Which mistake, my friend. You can't show your cards.
No.
Golly, is that all that I have? No. Okay.
No. HR is gone for the day, so Rosie goes home to stew while waiting for her boyfriend to come home. When she mentions the issue to Ryan, her boyfriend, he suggests she brush it off because big companies like the one Rosie works for try to avoid scandals. When Rosie goes to work the next day, Linda from HR is waiting for her, and Rosie knows exactly what's coming next. Also, it's important to note that Ryan and Rosie should probably break up because they are very deep in the roommate phase.
Very deep in the roommate phase.
I was enraged
Me
listening
too.
to this part.
Okay, I read it, but still, I was like, oh my
And he laughs when she tells him.
Yeah,
He kind of is amused, and then he's like, oh, you're upset?
oh, you're mad? What do you mean you don't want me to touch your ass?
And
So Ford and Cora are talking about Cora's family. Her parents were older when she was conceived, and her father recently passed away from ALS, which we have to very quickly and rapidly move past because if we talk about it for too long, I'll start crying. Anyway, Cora's mom's really been struggling after the passing of her husband. Cora thinks that she's clinically depressed and has researched inpatient facilities for her mom to receive treatment at. Unfortunately, it says both of Cora's, like the choir, both of Cora's parents were only children. Her grandparents are deceased because her parents were older. So she has no living family who can take care of her while her mom goes to the inpatient treatment. So Cora's idea is that Ford will take care of her. Ford drives Cora back to Calgary, and then he meets her mom, Marilyn, who is very clearly in the trenches.
yes,
we
in the
don't-
throes of the depression.
And we don't talk
as we
about
say.
ALS because that's how my grandfather died. So there's the clarity. Moving on.
Yeah, we will move on.
Yeah.
All right, so we switch back to Rosie's perspective. Rosie makes her way back home because what else does one do when they lose their job but return home? Anyway, when she's home, she's about to knock on the door when it suddenly is jerked open by none other than Ford Grant. Rosie pretends like she doesn't know who he is and introduces herself. They shake hands, and when I'm not going to be able to say that, Wes's daughter, Emmy, barrels in to give her auntie a hug and a kiss on the cheek with her sticky little face. Sticky ass kids.
I know.
Wes arrives on scene, and Rosie tells him to bathe his child, to which he responds to hop off his dick because he gets enough from Mia, who's his
baby mama.
The baby mama.
Baby mama.
The whole time Rosie and West are talking, Ford is observing. West brings up world's hottest billionaire, which prompts Ford to leave the siblings alone. As he's walking away, West and Rosie have a conversation in head shakes and nods before West tells her she better not have been checking Ford out. Rosie is going to be staying at West's house for the foreseeable future and has chosen to stay specifically in the bunkhouse. But first, dinner.
And you know what's really hard for me? Okay. Having read Lila Sage's most of the Rebel Blue Ranch series, Emmy is one of the main characters. Wes is her brother. His name is Weston also, but he goes by West. And I was like, oh my God, can we please just come up with different fucking names for these characters?
Oh, I thought you were saying they were the same characters.
No.
And I was like...
No, but I kept being like, Emmy, why do you have a sticky face? You're an adult woman. Go fucking make out with Brooks.
And it's the same author?
No.
Oh, okay.
Different author,
okay.
but like still.
I was like, why would the
Y'all
author
need to come
use
up
the same people?
You need to come up with some better names for your characters. At dinner, Rosie is staring hard at Cora and Ford, realizing there was no introduction made. But don't worry, Rosie introduces herself as West's sister, and then her eyes almost bug out of her head when Cora tells her that she's Ford's daughter. Rosie takes this in stride, whispering loudly to Ford, "Congrats on losing your virginity." Cora then informs her that she is, in fact, a sperm donor baby, so the jury's still out as to whether Ford has actually lost his virginity. They go back over to Ford's house, and he shows Cora to her room, again feeling very out of depth with how to speak to this girl. She's like 12. He rambles on about if her room's okay and if she wants to be on the same floor as him to just let him know. He asks her if she has any particular snacks that she likes and tells her that his house is pretty jam-packed and stocked for her. He asks her if she's hungry right now and offers her a hard-boiled egg. And she's like, the fuck am I going to do with a hard-boiled egg? And he tells her it's high in protein and will help you sleep. Then he's like, just kidding, you can have cereal. She balks at the idea of eating oatmeal, and he tells her that he actually bought her Lucky Charms. While she's eating the Lucky Charms at his island, he tells us that he has no idea what the fuck he's doing. Clearly. A hard-boiled egg? A hard-boiled egg?
Right. My kids won't even eat hard-boiled eggs. I mean, my kids are picky as hell, but...
Sawyer will eat a hard-boiled egg, but he picks the yolk out.
I do that still, to this day.
Kelly.
I'm a child.
Kelly, you're an adult woman. You're a mature adult.
I am an adult. Okay, so Rosie is sitting out on the deck when Ford approaches. They talk about Cora's family issues and briefly about Rosie's life in the city. Rosie doesn't really want to talk about this, so she tries to circle the conversation around to Ford. We learn that he developed a wildly successful music app and owns the bar he worked at through college, which you already know if you've read the Chestnut Springs series. He tells Rosie that once people start caring more about money than integrity, he loses interest in being around those people. Sick of talking about himself, he flings a comment at Rosie about her showing up with teary eyes and no end date to her stay, which prompts Rosie to fling back a comment about if the grandparents know about... it says annoyed. No, about bouncing baby girl.
Annoyed. Speech to text.
It's okay. Ford tells her he can't tell his parents yet because there was an issue when he and Willow were children that resulted in tons of press that could cause his parents to react badly. Apparently, a woman claimed Ford Sr. was her child's father. Rosie doesn't like that response and tells Ford to get off her deck.
Literally, her deck.
Well,
her
actually
dock.
says dock.
Her dock.
He tugs her ponytail and tells her goodnight, to which she responds, "Fuck you, Junior." And then he leaves her alone, presumably to her thoughts, which I love that she just is constantly calling him Junior.
Me too.
Because he hates it.
He does. Gosh.
I love the sass.
I just forgot that Willow's brother's name was Ford. until this book. And then when he said my sister would not knock, I was like, oh my God, yeah, Willa's his sister. She wouldn't knock. Rosie is riding into town today because nothing cures a bad day quite like a good cup of tea. And the town's local bistro has just what the doctor ordered. Her childhood friend, Tabitha, works the bistro. Tabby has her own sordid small town story, I'm sure we'll find out later in this series, and appears super exhausted when she takes Rosie's order. She tells Rosie that her sister Erica keeps leaving her toddler with Tabby to do whatever the hell she feels like doing, and Tabby is exhausted. The pair agree to meet up for drinks soon, and then Rosie sets out on a mission to find a job. Her student loans aren't going to pay themselves. As it turns out, small towns aren't exactly rolling in job openings, so Rosie decides to propose an idea to Ford about her working for him. He just happened to be striding down the street, and the idea came to her. She tells him he has to agree, and he does, citing in the history of their relationship he has never told Rosie no.
Oh, gosh. That Rosie.
That Rosie Posey.
Wrapped around.
Spoiled Rosie Posey wrapped around Ford Grant's finger.
Or Ford is wrapped around
yeah.
her finger.
Yeah, you're right.
All right. What do you do when your boss continuously pisses you off? Off to pick up his kid from school, of course. Cora's moodiness is perfectly captured, and she genuinely seems like a cool kid from footwear alone.
She wears Doc Martens and Converse.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't remember.
You're like, I don't remember.
Footwear.
I do.
Rosie tries her hardest to get Cora to smile and is almost successful when they talk about what Cora should call Ford. They pull up outside the recording studio / barn, and Rosie expresses her anxiety about going to visit her parents and tell them that perfect Rosie has messed up. Cora offers to go with her, and Rosie agrees, but tells her that she has to tell Ford where she's going to be so he doesn't worry. When Cora returns to the car, Ford is in tow, ready to go.
Ready to go.
Rosie questions why he's there as Cora slides into the front seat, and Cora tells her that he wants to come too. There's no room for him in the front seat because Cora took it, so he has to ride in the back seat. Rosie thinks this is hilarious because he kind of just stands outside the door looking at it. So she rolls the window down and asks him if she should get out and hold the door open for him.
World's hottest billionaire.
He's just going to get in. Once he's inside the vehicle, she tells him that the ride will be short, but there should be a melted Cliff Bar in the back pocket of her car seat if he's hungry. He fishes the Cliff Bar out of the pocket and takes a bite out of it before snarking at her. Thank you, Rosalie. This is delicious.
Thank you.
Thank you. As of note, Cora seemed genuinely interested in Rosalie's life when she realized that Rosalie might have a boyfriend. Rosie is anxious because her boyfriend isn't going to come see her for another 4 weeks for them to sort out their issues because he's super busy with work.
God, could you imagine? Ugh.
No, thank you.
Oh my God. I would just text him and be like, we're done.
And just for context, so Rosie is the younger sister?
Yeah, I think that
Ford?
she's, no, West's younger sister.
That's what I meant to say.
Yeah,
I
think,
said Ford.
I feel like she, oh God, I read too much.
I'm like, I don't know if there's a third child or not. I think it's just them two.
It's just those two. And I feel like she was only a couple of years younger, like 3 years younger than them. Because I remember that she was like, always kind of tailing after the boys, but I remember distinctly that Willa wasn't with them because Willa is significantly younger than them.
And Ford is kind of, not Ford, West was kind of the rambunctious teen.
Wild child.
So Rosie took on the role of like responsible
couldn't disappoint anybody because Weston did enough of that for everybody.
Yes, so now she's terrified to go tell her parents
that she lost her job.
Yes.
Yeah. Rosie's parents are perplexed that Ford and Cora are with her for this visit. Her dad's like, I always knew this would happen. And Rosie's like, first of all, what do you mean? Second of all, he's literally my boss. Her mom's confused why her boyfriend isn't there and what happened to her job in the city. The visit ultimately ends, and we cut back over to the dock where Rosie's watching Ford swim laps, which he does often. She accuses him of stalking her, but then invites him to join her on her dock and tells him she'll share her chips. She has a very specific brand of chips that she likes to eat, and apparently she can only get them in Rose Hill. I don't know.
Yeah, they're like the sour cream and onion kettle chips or something.
Yeah. He gets out of the lake, puts a robe on to join her. They talk a little bit and then end up tossing chips at each other's faces. It's heating up. Rosie ends up touching his bare chest. Yeah, scandal. And then West is yelling at them, asking what the fuck they're doing. Rosie panics and pushes Ford into the lake, and then she and her brother are laughing at him.
Oh, chapter 10. I forgot to take notes, so I guess we'll never know what happened in chapter 10.
Whoops. So do you want to read
It's
11? Or
I will continue on to chapter 11.
leave us a comment. What happens in chapter 10?
Oh, wait, is it in the Smut Club? Probably not.
Probably not. I
Probably
think that
not.
I just like start off so well intentioned and then I give up.
I think I was just quoting shit. We'll look later.
We'll look later.
Ford and Cora are at home, and he's running a list of food items by her to include frog legs, liver, caviar, and hot dogs, because Cora won't make up her frickin' mind about what she wants. I think she does the typical teen thing, like,
I don't know.
I don't care.
Lucky Charms.
Cora is most affronted by the hot dogs, but still agrees to eat them, but only after Ford tells her that they can roast them over an open flame. She asks about s'mores, and of course he doesn't have the ingredients necessary, so he calls Rosie. Miss Hot Mess Express does have the ingredients and says she'll be right over, but not before giving Ford the runaround first, of course. When she shows up, she has beers for the adults, s'mores, fixins, and even went so far as to get root beer from the store for Cora. Ford shows Cora how to ignite a flame, adds pyromaniac to her list of angsty tween qualities, and feels overwhelmed with emotion when she gets so excited to have successfully lit a flame. He realizes that she has become agreeable to not make her parents' lives difficult, and he makes it his goal to give her the normal childhood things she might have missed out on while her dad was ill. As he's watching Cora, he notices Rosie is watching him.
So cute and so sweet.
Look at him in his dad mode.
Look at him
Nothing
crushing it.
Makes my panties want to drop more.
Oh, you and
than
Rosie.
this. Speaking for Rosie, not myself.
Oh, okay. Cora heads back up to the house, leaving the two adults alone. Rosie thanks Ford for inviting her, and he's like, you invited yourself. They're going back and forth, nudging each other, and they end up sitting super close. In Rosie's thoughts, we get a picture of her having girlhood crushes on West's friends, but she tells us Ford was different. They're staring at each other, and Rosie blurts out a question to Ford. Are you single? He tells her he is and asks her the same. She tells him she doesn't know. So he stands up, pulls her ponytail again so that she's looking up at him, and tells her, the next time you ask me that question, you better make sure you are. He leaves her sitting by the fire. When she goes back to the bunkhouse, she decides to take a walk down memory lane with the diary Ford retrieved for her the night that he picked her up from a party when they were teenagers. She ended up throwing the diary out of the car window on the way home, but he took the time to find it for her, telling her that it took him multiple tries before he actually was able to find her diary.
And he's held onto it.
All these years. It's been 10 years since he saw Rosie last.
Stand down.
Ugh.
You always do this.
Golly.
All right. The next day at the office, Rosie is sitting there waiting for Ford to come in. I think Rosie's on the phone. Rosie is sitting there waiting. I'm sorry. Let me start over.
Sorry.
And scene. The next day at the office, Rosie is sitting there waiting for Ford to come in. She's on the phone with a contractor who is adamant that he will only help gut the barn if Ford agrees to join his bowling team. Rosie loudly kisses this contractor's ass while on the phone as she's explaining the situation to Ford, who ultimately agrees that he will join the bowling team. Then he goes over to his desk and notices a piece of paper fluttering in the breeze. It's a journal entry from the night he picked Rosie up from that party. He asked her if it's okay for him to read, and she tells him it wouldn't be sitting on your desk if it weren't okay. So he reads it, and in the journal entry, she's talking about chopping her ex-boyfriend's dick and balls off, I assume. You left off, but it's
Sorry,
fine.
you're just chopping them.
Just chopping it. She muses about how Ford must have already been out to have gotten to her in 10 minutes because it normally takes 20 to get to where she was. There's some back and forth banter about how this is super unprofessional, and he calls her Rosalie. She's like, oh, so I'm Rosalie now? How formal. He tells her that she'll only be Rosie to him if he's going to fuck her, and he's not. So we're going to keep it professional.
Yeah, Rosalie.
Yeah, Rosalie, get your shit together.
I'm not going to fuck you.
Then he kind of backtracks and asks if he offended her. She tells him he's been offending her for years. If he was too nice to her, she'd worry that someone was terminal. She tells him she wouldn't fuck him anyways because she hates him.
Yeah, so there.
So there, I hate you.
Yeah, and your feet stink. I don't know.
Yeah. He tells her that he likes her journal entry because it shows how truly unhinged she was. She tells him she still is, and he better watch his back. Then he tells her that journal entry is fascinating, but all wrong. I was at home when you called that night, and I broke every speed limit to get to you.
Swoon. So this reminds me a lot of...
I have a comment. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So this reminds me a lot of Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez because the male main character keeps a journal.
Oh, really?
And then don't listen. Okay, spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Don't listen.
Spoiler alert. At the end, he, like when they are having their breakup, he gives her his journal and lets her read it while he's going through surgery to donate one of his kidneys to her brother who...
Aww.
And I sobbed.
That's a lot.
Okay, so what do you have to say about Ford breaking every speed limit to get to Rosie?
I break every speed limit to get everywhere.
Me too.
So for me, I'm like,
Yes. And what about it? Blow our tits off, please.
tell me more.
Come on, Elsie. You got to do better than that. Blow our tits off.
Give me something more.
So the pair are sitting across the office from each other, trying to avoid eye contact. And then they start emailing each other. It starts out with numbers and spreadsheets with Rosie taking every chance she gets to point out that Ford's a dickhead. He even goes so far as to sign off as a dickhead. He also always puts "have a happy day" with an exclamation point at the end of his emails, which makes Rosie and Brittany laugh.
Did you read it or listen?
I read it.
You read it? Okay.
So what was it like when you listened?
It would just be them reading, and it was a male and female.
Yeah. Have a happy day.
Which the guy's voice kind of reminded me of, what is his name? James Morgan?
Jacob Morgan?
Jacob Morgan.
Was it?
Yeah. It wasn't him.
Are
I
you
even
sure?
looked.
Was
yeah.
it Zachary Weber?
I shall Google.
She's going to Google while I continue telling you.
But I enjoyed the male's voice. Sometimes I will associate the female voice with somebody I know, and I was just like,
Ugh.
I'm like, I don't like this.
Ugh, especially when you get to that one part with the paint and the coos.
Paint in the coos.
We'll get there. Tony, settle down. We're going to get there. So later on,
Strap in.
Ford's dad calls the office. Ford's been ignoring him, and Rosie answers, simultaneously complimenting and defending Ford in one breath. Jacob Morgan did not narrate it, but Zachary Weber did.
Is that who you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's the thing. That is the same person.
Is it really?
Yes.
Okay, because I was like, they sound exactly the same.
He narrates as two people. Like he has two different narrator names.
Got it.
So,
okay.
Good job, Brittany.
Yeah,
Crushing it
good
as
job,
always.
because I'm like, I swear this is the same
You're
guy.
like, Josh, is that you?
Josh?
So she compliments and defends Ford in one breath, gives him another diary entry. This one's about the time she failed summer school, her chem class, and Ford forged her mom's signature so she wouldn't have to let them down. Before she hands in the diary entry, she says to him, "Sometimes we need a minute to get our bearings before we have the big conversations," which is a quote from him that she wrote in her diary. He tells us she thinks he hated spending time with her on the dock the day. What? He tells us that she thinks he hated spending time with her on the dock that day, that she was going to tell her parents she failed, but he actually loved it, even back then.
Aw.
Swoon.
Swoon. Do we know where this is going yet? I bet you can't guess.
It's romance. We all know where it's
We all
going.
know. It was cute.
It's why we're comforted by it.
It's cute.
Yeah.
All right, so our pair are sitting across the office from... Oh, just kidding. We must scroll.
I read that.
All right, it's bowling league time. Cora and Rosie are hanging out at home with pizza, and Legally Blonde and the boys, that is Ford and Weston, are heading out to the bowling alley. Ford is introduced to Bash and Crazy Clyde.
Hell yeah, Crazy Clyde.
Who is a literal conspiracy theorist. He made me laugh a lot.
Me too. He's insane.
Before greeting Too Tall, the opposing bowling team's captain, who would not tell Ford his name.
Yeah,
he just kept saying,
he was
Too
like,
Tall.
cool, so what's your name? And he's like, Too Tall.
No, but what's your real name? Too Tall.
What's your legal government name? Too Tall.
Ford tells us they didn't beat the other team, the High Rollers or something like that, but that he had a lot of fun. He had a lot more fun than he expected. A few things to note. Bash is gruff and doesn't seem to like anyone. He does, however, seem to like Ford's jokes, especially when Ford calls Too Tall Stretch.
Yeah.
West doesn't bat an eye when Ford asks if Rosie has met Crazy Clyde, and I'm wondering at what point we will be suspicious of Rosie and Ford's shifting relationship.
Yeah. Like, hello, brother?
Brethren?
Where's your alert, guy?
Seriously.
So Rosie falls asleep on Ford's couch after Cora goes to bed. The pair had a talk beforehand about Cora being beautiful and able to wear pink if she wants. Really, the talk was about redefining yourself. Talk shifts to Ford and Cora, who seems to know that Ford is interested in Rosie, who still hasn't talked to her boyfriend. She wakes up to Ford watching her sleep. He's literally sitting on the coffee table watching her. She stands and he grabs onto her thighs to thank her for keeping an eye on Cora before suggesting she stay over the next time he has bowling league. She goes to check on Cora. He follows her. So he sees her like take her pink scrunchie that she's always wearing and leave it on Cora's bedside table. Then he tells her that he's walking her home. She confesses to him that she fell out of love with Ryan and also about her boss assaulting her. And Ford is very clearly livid about this, promising to destroy the company that she worked for. She tells him not to do it and he asks what did Ryan say? And she tells him that he basically told her to rise above and something better would come along. She cries onto his chest as she's confessing everything, and he's like holding her, listening. Rosie
steaming.
Yeah, literally silently pissed off. Rosie tells us she doesn't need a knight in shining armor to defend her honor, but it sure is nice to have one.
Like Ryan could have gotten a little more mad.
Yeah,
that would have been nice. I would have appreciated it.
I want to believe that he is like a nice guy, but I'm married to a nice guy, and if I were to tell him that something like this happened at work, he would be in there.
Yeah.
Like when that thing happened on my first therapy session, he was like, if I were there, I would be in his office. Ooh. He would be hearing about it from me.
Dang. Maybe I'm married to a Ryan because Adam would be like,
and?
Okay. What'd you do?
Did
you put on your big girl panties and deal with it?
I need you to defend my honor, please.
Oh, well, my husband would not. Well, maybe he would. Oh gosh.
Oh no, I think that he would. I think that he would surprise you.
Maybe. Probably not. Just kidding. All right. Game night at the Grant house is essentially Rosie clearing everyone out. Ford makes an offhand comment about it that Rosie reads into him as lording the bonus over her. Did we talk about the bonus yet?
That probably happened in chapter 10.
Oh, yeah. So let's backtrack a little bit. Rosie did make a comment that she has a lot of student loans, which was one reason why she needed a job, because she has to start making payments. And at some point before chapter 19, Ford gives her a check, and I think it's for $100,000.
I think so too. Yep.
$100,000. And she doesn't want to accept it at first, and then he talks her into it somehow. I can't remember exactly how.
I forget too.
So when they're playing Monopoly, something is said, and she takes it really personal, and she's like, I'll give you that fucking money back.
Yeah, since you want to fucking world's hottest billionaire, my ass. Damn.
Yeah, goddamn. Calm down. So they're ramping up the bickering. So Cora leaves the scene to go find a snack. She calls out for help from the pantry. She calls for Rosie, and Rosie's she's also short, so she can't reach it. So then Ford comes in to try to reach the snack that Cora is going for. Neither of them can reach it. But as Ford is hovering over Rosie, Cora locks them in the pantry, telling them they'll be freed when they stop bickering because they like each other. They end up reminiscing on a time when they were locked in a closet together for 7 minutes in heaven, and how Rosie smudged her lip gloss on his lips and mused her hair. She can't recall what flavor the lip gloss was, but Ford is quick to tell her it was watermelon.
It was watermelon. Deep breaths. It was watermelon.
As Rosie goes to ask a question, the pantry door flies open and Cora asks if they're done, and Ford is left wondering exactly what Rosie wanted to ask.
Yeah, me too. What were you going to ask? Crazy?
Yeah. Do you remember? Maybe it's
Did he? I think she was going to ask if he ever wanted more. Rosie spends a sleepless night worrying about how she's going to tell Ryan she doesn't want to be with him. She's been practicing exactly what she's going to say when she hears a knock on the office door. She opens it to find my girl, Willa, standing there with Ryan. Willa tries multiple times to sidestep around Rosie to go give Ford an earful, but Rosie blocks her each time. And I wish that you knew, Willa, because I pictured this in my head.
Really?
Yes.
I think I can picture her a little, I think the picture I have of her is going to be accurate because I do want to read these books.
You
just
need
like
to,
a little Spitfire.
Because Willa's meet cute with her man. She literally drops a pair of underwear in front of him in line at a fucking coffee shop. And she's like, what? I carry them in my purse because I don't normally wear them. Really, she's just insane.
I love it.
So she tells Willa in no uncertain terms that she will retrieve her asshole brother and basically completely ignores Ryan during this exchange. Mm-hmm. Ryan seems really shocked because Vancouver Rosie is a lot more fancy than Rose Hill Rosie.
Yes.
She's more feral and less polished than what Ryan is used to.
And Ford kind of brings it out of her
a lot.
And by kind of, I mean a lot.
A lot. He makes her absolutely batshit crazy.
And on this note, I was a little annoyed in the beginning because she seemed so demure and just cautious and kind of reined in. Mm-hmm. And whenever it would go to Ford's perspective, she was unhinged. But then when it would skip back to Cora's perspective, I'm like, or not Cora, Rosie's perspective, it seemed like she was still being so nice and sweet until the end. And I was a little annoyed. I'm like, I feel like Ford's perspective is so different than how the author writes Rosalie.
I think that's because Ford is remembering 10 years ago Rosie. And
well, no, it was just the way she was acting towards him was all unhinged.
Oh.
Yeah, when it was Rosie's chapter, she wasn't quite as unhinged. And I was just like, I feel like it's inconsistent. But then as it went on, it was more and more. And I was like, okay.
Okay.
Now I'm okay with it.
I got it. So she and Ryan hug, and it's like super awkward. She goes to get Ford, who is like, you okay? And she's like, yeah, and asks him the same. And he simply says no before walking out of the door. Stalking out of the door, if you will. There you go. My 3 sentences.
Yay.
Yay.
The breakup is quick, like ripping a Band-Aid off. Both saw this coming, but Ryan is surprisingly watery-eyed over it. She asks if he's okay, and he tells her he is before asking if she's okay with him crashing there for the night. She tells him it's fine, but all the while she's more worried about Ford than she is Ryan.
So it's just like, oh, so now you want to cry?
Right. Like, where was this emotion?
6 weeks ago when I left.
And then he had no urgency to come out and see her. Like, she's been there, over a month at this point?
Yeah, and they've barely, spoken. Like, hello? You don't even call? Like, you don't even call?
You don't call?
You don't text? Like, huh?
Yeah, I would be annoyed. I'd be like, okay, so I don't even matter.
Well, first of all, you live with your husband. How many times a day does he call you?
2 to 3.
Okay.
While I'm at work.
Exactly.
And then we text. He texted me today. I miss you.
Yeah, literally. My husband's not with me right now. Mm-hmm. He calls me multiple times a day. Even when he was here, he would call me 7 times a day. And I'm like, I'm working. What?
I'm busy.
God. So Willa and Ford have a discussion about why he didn't tell her about Cora. He tells her that she has a big heart, but also a big fucking mouth, and he needed time to process without anyone trying to change his mind. Cora is surprised that Willa gives her this big exuberant hug, and I'm like, no, that tracks. She asks Cora what she and Ford were doing prior to her arrival, and Cora tells her listening to music. Willa's like, I like music. And that's how the trio end up going off to listen to music together, while Ford is dwelling on what could possibly be happening between Ryan and Rosie.
Yeah.
So Ford and Willa's dad is a guitarist for a band. So that's why they are both like very enmeshed in the music world. Willa plays the guitar.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Gotcha. I knew about the dad, but I didn't know about her. I assumed
I'm just going to add some extra, Willa lore in here.
Yeah, I love it. We can tell that you love her. All right, so Willa and Ford end up at a pub in town. Willa asks Ford to sit outside, but he tells her no because seeing the water only reminds him of being pushed into the lake by Rosie. They go inside, and who do they see? Ryan and Rosie sitting at a table.
Wow.
Willa heads directly toward them saying, look, people who aren't Ford to hang out with. Ryan gets up and sits beside Rosie, leaving the opposite side of the table free for Willa and Ford. Willa monologues the whole time, and Ford just stares at Rosie. Is she just a yapper?
Yeah, she's a yapper. Oh, my God. And her man is like silent.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, my gosh.
And I'm like, oh, my God.
So Rosie catches him staring, and he doesn't look away. Somehow, talk shifts to Ryan's work, and Ford starts being a dickhead about him not taking time for over a month to come see his girlfriend. He doesn't let up, and eventually Rosie takes him outside to talk to him. Once outside, she backs him up against the side of the pub and yells at him. He quickly grabs hold of her and flips them so she's backed up against the side. He tells her to shut up and calls her Rosie. She's like, oh, so now you can call me Rosie? What does that even mean? And he tells her to shut up so he can kiss her.
Kiss her. My turn?
Wow.
Wow.
We get right into it.
We're right into it. Oh, my God.
Hold on.
Hold. All right. You ready to have your tits blown off? She's practically riding his leg as they kiss. She even feels him up under his shirt. He pulls back and apologizes, saying they shouldn't be kissing. She's like, why not? He brings up her not being single, and she's like, the furk? I am. The furk? And then they kiss some more. He pulls back again and starts walking away. She's like, where are you going? He tells her he's got to go apologize to Fuckboy. Now, Cora coins the name Fuckboy for Ryan. I don't know why. But anyway, he's like, I got to go apologize to Fuckboy. She's like, why? He tells her anybody who loses her when he had her free and clear needs condolences. She asks, are you going to come back? He tells her he knows she needs the job, and since he employs her, there is nothing free and clear about them.
I lost it when Cora called him fuckboy.
Me too.
Did you list that in here? She's like, move it, fuck.
Yeah.
So when
she's
Willa,
like, out of the way, fuck boy.
When Willa and Ryan show up and she like busts out, she's like, move it, fuck boy, and
hell yeah, nothing like a 12-year-old calling you a fuck boy.
Get his ass.
Oh,
god damn!
You
man.
always do this.
I keep moving it, and I don't know why. All right, so Willa and Ford have a lovely heart-to-heart the next morning. In true Willa fashion, she totally spied on them at the pub and recounts the makeout sesh for Ford. He tries to make excuses for why he and Rosie can't be together, and Willa sees through the bullshit. Because that's all it is.
Yeah,
a bunch
literally.
of fucking bullshit.
She was riding your leg, sir.
She's like, he's been in love with Rosie. She tells Ford that he's been in love with Rosie since he was a teenager, and fuck West. She tells him to go swim some laps while she spends time with her niece before it's time for her to head back to Chestnut Springs. He doesn't swim laps, though. Instead, he goes to work where he finds Rosie curled up on a couch asleep in the office. He sits on the couch and strokes her ankle, trying to gently wake her. Then they argue about why they can't kiss again.
Wow. In the office?
Touching her ankle?
Wow, it's really getting scandalous with the ankle touches in here.
Yeah, get it together.
So, me today, okay. Being just an asshole to everybody.
As she does.
As I do. Rosie is one day away from her period.
Okay.
Same.
Yes. Tracks.
Yep, it tracks. And very deep in her feelings over Ford's stubborn ass. More emails go flying with banter about the dick Rosie drew in her planner to pretend to look busy while Ford read her email about a contractor not to be trusted because he likes chicken drums instead of flats when he orders wings.
I agree.
Valid point.
100%
That's a valid point. She also sends him an invite to a charity event in Emerald Lake, which he tells her to RSVP him to with a +1. She stews over who his +1 will be before blurting out her question. He then approaches
Who's your +1?
Who is it?
Tell me right now.
He then approaches her desk and to tell her that she will be his +1, as it sounds like the perfect event for his dick manager to attend with him, because she's his dick manager. She gets overly emotional about that goddamn period, and tells him she forgot a sweater at her place that she needs. He tells her he's going to grab lunch and asks her if she wants anything. She says whatever looks good before fleeing the scene. She ends up sitting on the dock and popping a Midol before heading back to the office, where she finds a tin of chicken wings, all flats, waiting on her desk. Sounds so good.
It does. I'm like, I'm so hungry.
Chicken wings.
Claire messaged me too, and she's like, "Can we get DoorDash?" I'm like, "Fuck no."
No, Claire? What the fuck?
Which I just said no.
I would say. No, I'm just kidding.
I know. I may say it to her face. Not via text. Not where there's evidence.
Evidence? We can't leave the evidence.
Which she's been told to delete that damn app because this child wants to...
DoorDash every day.
Yes.
We ain't got DoorDash money.
We ain't got DoorDash money.
Our Venmo's here. I'm just kidding. I'm just
Yes,
kidding.
Venmo has money for wings. And Dubai strawberries. All right, so Ford enters his office to hear Rosie on the phone with his mother talking about how he needs to get laid. As they're talking, he makes his way over to his desk where another diary entry is waiting. This one talks about how Rosie wanted to take Ford's virginity and send him back to college, knowing where the clit is.
Yes.
Yes. What a sweetie. She wraps the call telling him his mom said orgasms help with moodiness and cramps. Then she plops her ass down on his desk and tells him to tell her about his past sexual relationships. I thought this was so fucking random.
Yeah,
I'm like,
me too.
what?
I was like, girl, what? Where did that come from?
Where did this come from? He tells her he's been with 2 people in significantly more detail than I'm providing, but that he only ever wanted to be with one. As they're having this conversation, he's slowly inching her dress hem up. She makes a job at him, still not knowing where the clit is, so he flips her dress up and draws an X over her panties before he helps her rub one out. With the pen, no less.
He has these like blue pens that he
Yes.
exclusively uses, and he pulls it from behind his ear and X's over her underwear with it.
Oh, and here's where you say, okay, because I thought you forgot that part. See, Mom also told her that orgasms help with period cramps, and she told Ford that too, so he was just helping her out. Mm-hmm. As she's laying across his desk and he's contemplating flipping her over and taking her from behind, Brother West's voice filters through. Ford heads him off, and they go into town for coffee and errands, leaving Rosie alone.
Oh, Rosie.
Not Brother West.
Oh, God. In this part, I was like, didn't you eat the wings that he got you? Like, I was confused because she goes back to the bunkhouse to make herself a sandwich for lunch, she says. And I'm like, we didn't eat the fucking wings?
Oh, I think it's like a day later.
Is this a different day? I don't know.
Yeah,
oh, it must
it's a
be because
day
she's on her
later.
period. Never mind. So she's going back to the bunkhouse to make herself a sandwich for
Oh.
lunch. She notices that her cramps have diminished. After she's made her sandwich, she goes out to the dock to sit and enjoy her lunch. Pretty much as soon as she sits down, her phone starts ringing with an unknown phone number. She promptly drops her sandwich in the lake to try to answer the phone without sounding like and tries to answer the phone without sounding like a bitch. Sorry. She thinks it could potentially be a contractor, which is why she doesn't want to answer it with a pissy attitude. As it
thoughtful.
turns out, it's Cora calling, asking Rosie to come get her at school because she got in trouble. When she gets there, Ford is already there consoling Cora. Rosie kind of stands back and observes the two. She learns that Cora called her social studies teacher a chauvinistic piece of shit because he made a comment about women not being able to handle societal pressures. We learn from Ford that he and Cora have been sampling music together, and Cora wants him to pursue Skylar Stone, who is a country music rising star. Skylar Stone was the woman in question that her teacher made the chauvinistic remark about. Remark about. The principal wants to suspend Cora, but Ford talks him out of it. The agreement is that Cora will finish up her social studies on her own and take the final exam when the school year ends at the end of next month. One thing that's brought up in this chapter is that when Ford and Rosie go to meet with the principal, he mistakes Rosie as Ford's wife, so he keeps calling her Mrs. Grant.
Which they secretly adore.
Both of them are like,
married us.
us, not us. Do you see a ring?
On this finger. All right. Ford pulls up to the office and sees an unknown truck in the driveway. He goes in and sees an unknown man standing by Rosie's desk, speaking to her with heart eyes. The man introduces himself as Scotty the painter that Bash hired. Ford says, "Okay, Scott, do you have the rundown or do you need me to give it to you?" Scotty tells him that Scott is his last name. His first name is Derek. He just goes by Scotty. Ford is really annoyed by that and continues talking to him about whether or not he knows what he needs to start doing. He goes over to his desk, fires off an email to Rosie, talking about how he thinks the fumes are bad for them and they should go work from home today. Rosie says the fumes don't seem to be affecting Scotty. Ford notices that no matter where Scotty is in the room, he always seems to be able to stare at Rosie. They continue to go back and forth via email. She makes a joke about him running errands being code for him masturbating. She asks him how running errands went and if you needed a magazine this time. He tells her he didn't need a magazine last time he donated, and he wouldn't need one this time either.
So there.
She asked him what he was thinking about, and he tells her he was thinking about her. He's thinking about me.
Golly, while he's donating.
The spank bank. All right. She doesn't get the chance to respond, though, because her phone starts ringing. It's Cora who's telling her that something has come up at school. Ford wants to know why Cora didn't call him. Rosie tells him she's just going to be working from home today, specifically his house, and that she needs to get into his house because Cora needs a change of clothes, and he's going to need to respect her privacy over the coming days. And if he doesn't know what's going on based on that information, she doesn't know what she's going to do with him. It dawns on him, and Rosie hits him with a, "Yeah, Dad, your girls are synced up."
Your girls are synced up. Oh, so now you're his girl?
Yeah.
Wow.
The guy at my work calls this Bluetoothing.
Oh.
When us girls sync up. Patrick.
I know. I knew it was him. Pat. God
It's
damn
kind
it.
of funny. It makes me laugh.
Damn it, Pat.
I don't know how it came up, but yeah. It was discussed.
We just call it, we just are like, who's alpha?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who is Alpha?
It's not me this time. Rosie talks Cora through how to use a pad as she hands her clean clothes under the bathroom stall door. She tells us she had to search 3 different bathrooms before she finally found Cora. Once she's done, Cora asks if she can go home for the day, and Rosie's like, "Hell yeah, they already think I'm Mrs. Grant. Let's go." Cora,
Sign your ass out.
Let's go, girl. Cora asks her if she'd ever want to be Mrs. Grant, and Rosie's like, "Yeah, who wouldn't?" They make a pit stop on the way home, and when they walk into Ford's, he's sitting there surrounded by period products, and Cora's like, "Oh my God, you told him?" Rosie's like, "He's a grown man. He literally pieced it together.
Yes.
He knows about periods." Spoiler alert. He has bowling this evening, but he tells Rosie there are glass bottles of Coke in the fridge and a box of her favorite chips in the pantry before he leaves. He wakes her up again when he comes home, and they talk about all the reasons why they can't be together, none of which I remember or found valid enough to type in my notes.
Same. And I don't have notes, so it's fine. Oh.
You just got to be along for the ride.
All right. Ford emails Rosie to tell her he and Cora will be spending the weekend in the city with her mother. She responds telling him she will hold it down while she's gone. And she's like super professional at this point because of the discussion they had the night before. So she's like, "All right, no more flirting from me."
She's like, "Your secretary, Rosalie Belmont."
Yes. So while he's gone, he has a miserable time because he's missing her while they're away. When he comes back to work, he sees Scotty hanging out with Rosie instead of working and loses his ever-loving mind and fires him. Rosie gets up and closes the door, telling Ford she can't risk anyone hearing what she's going to say to him. He's like, "Sounds like it's going to get personal, Rosalie." She's like, "We're back to Rosalie, huh?" And he responds with something tells me, "You won't care what I call you when I'm fucking you." She's like, can't we just go back to hating each other? And he says, I definitely don't hate you, Rosie. Not even close. But I can fuck you like I do if that's what you need. I was like, oh my
God. Holy shit, how'd we get here? Damn.
She asks him if he's waiting for a formal invitation, and then he bends her over his desk and does the damn deed.
So it reminds me a little bit. There's another man that Elsie Silver has written where he tells his woman to lose the fucking ring and crawl to him.
Oh.
And I was like, God damn, Jasper Gervais, the man that you are. Holy shit.
Yeah, damn. Where are we? Sorry, we got excited.
He did the damn thing.
She talks shit to him, prompting him to silence her with 2 fingers in her mouth. She continues to give him an attitude, and he tells her to keep giving him that bitchy attitude because it only makes him love her more. He realizes what he said and freezes up. She looks at him and says, okay, now I want you to flip me over and fuck me like you love me.
Yeah, just like that.
Hell yeah.
My turn? Yep.
Yes.
Okay. He gets her butt-ass naked and then butt-ass naked and then bares his soul to her before sending all of the things on his desk flying to the floor and then fucking her on top of it.
Everything.
Everything's on the floor. Then he says, you know what I hate most about you? That hating you is downright impossible. I spared the dirty details. Okay.
Go read the book.
Go read the book.
It's worth it.
It is. Elsie is one of my favorite romance authors.
Tony, you might be able to find it on Libby, okay?
Tony, it's on Kindle Unlimited. Get a 3-month
really?
free trial. Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Tony, you can borrow my copy of the book.
You know where she works.
Yeah.
Their sex bubble is popped by the sound of a car door closing. Ford's parents are here to finally meet Cora.
Wow.
Senior is oblivious to anything amiss, but sex therapist Gemma leans over to tell Rosie that peeing after sex helps prevent infection.
Wow.
It's funny because Rosie tries to embarrass Ford by acting like he threw a tantrum and tossed all of his belongings onto the floor, but Gemma sees right through the bullshit. Also, no one stopped to think of a condom before this romp, and they learn that it's both of their first time going bare.
Wow.
Don't worry. There shouldn't be an unexpected pregnancy in this one. She has an IUD.
I'm sorry, because there is unexpected pregnancy in Chestnut Springs. So
don't you love that too?
Yeah,
I feel like
I
the beginning
do.
of the year was all unexpected pregnancies for you.
I just love a good pregnancy.
We love a good pregnancy up in here, especially when it's unexpected. When it's finally time for the parents to meet Cora, Ford goes into super protective mode. His parents aren't deterred. Cora is starstruck by Senior and even more delighted when he teaches her a simple song on his guitar. Ford finds himself wishing Rosie were there with them to see Cora.
So cute.
So cute.
How much time do we have?
She responded to my comment about this book because I put screaming on
Yay. Aw. So
about
sweet.
this show.
Okay.
No, we have 10 minutes, so
Okay.
we're good.
Rosie fantasizes about Ford while she showers. When she's done, she gets the fright of her life when her house guest, a field mouse, makes a surprise appearance. She talks to the mouse when a knock sounds. She expects West and is surprised to find Ford standing out there. He invites her to their bonfire. She's like, let me think about it. He says if she chooses a mouse named Scotty over him, he'll be offended. She reopens the door and catches him in a boyish smile and tells him she'll think about the bonfire. He tells her he'll see her tonight. Everyone is at the bonfire, including West and his kids. West ends up taking his kids home kind of early because they're little. And then Gemma and Senior leave. Ford then walks Cora back to the house, and Rosie makes her way down to the dock. Ford joins her. They talk about many, many things, but mainly how sad they'll both be when Cora ends up going back to her mom. Mm-hmm. He then asks Rosie if she thinks she'll stay in Rose Hill. She tells him she has a job she loves and a place to stay, and she's grossly overpaid, so she could probably find a rental. She senses Ford is tense, so she asks him if she can stay at his house, which he had previously invited her to do. Mm-hmm. And she says that she'll sleep on the main floor in the guest room so they can keep it professional while Cora is still around.
Well, she only lasts in her own bed long enough for Cora and Ford to fall asleep. Then she sneaks upstairs, peeks in on Cora before slipping into bed with Ford. He wakes up to her touching his face. He asks her what she's doing, and she's like, touching you?
Yeah, like you are always touching me when I'm asleep. Damn.
She might have said it more romantic than that, though.
It was definitely with a bitchy attitude.
Touching you. God
Hello?
damn it.
Hello?
And then she asks him to touch her. She gets up on his chest and tells her to be quiet.
She sits on his chest.
Oh, he gets her up on his chest.
There we go.
Tells her to be quiet, hold onto the headboard, and sit on his face. She hovers over him, and he tells her to stop being so polite and sit on his face. When she's taken care of, she tells him she wants more. He's seen her naked, and she wants to see him, so he gives her the show. He sits on her face. Just kidding. He sits on the bed.
He sits on her face.
Toss my salad. He sits on the bed and they go to town again. This time, to keep her quiet, he has her hold the diary key he wears around his neck from her diary. And it's funny to me. In her mouth, and tells her if she lets it fall, he'll stop. He doesn't stop, and then he cleans her up with a washcloth after they're done doing the deed.
So romantic. What part was funny to you?
Where you said he has her hold the diary key he wears around his neck from her diary.
From her diary. Specifically, it's from her diary.
Oh, okay.
It's his talisman.
Emphasis on the her.
He does not get off ever.
Ever.
And he's worn it like since they were teenagers.
Yes.
When Rosie wakes, she's alone. She makes her way to the kitchen, following the scent of bacon, thinking Ford is making breakfast. Except it's the wrong Ford making breakfast, because Senior is down there making breakfast and Junior is nowhere to be seen.
Damn it, Senior.
Senior asks her if she wants coffee, and Gemma's like, oh, quit it. You know, Ford already went and bought her the tea that she likes. Ford has apparently already gone into work. Rosie then makes her way over to the office and finds Ford painting while angry music blares. They have an argument of sorts because Rosie dumps paint literally everywhere before dropping to her knees in front of him, kneeling in the paint, frees his stick from his pants. His stick. Then she puts her paint-covered hands all over his thighs. And this is what I was talking about when I said, you're going to get paint in your coos.
Paint all up in your coos.
There you go. You get this fun little...
I get a few sentences. What does she do, ladies and gents?
Prepare your tits. They're about to be blown off.
Oh my God, how many times can we say tits? She gives him head.
Wow.
He talks to her through it, challenging her. I bet you can't take it all.
Blech.
She taunts him by flinging paint everywhere. He doesn't mind getting messy as long as it's with her. When he's finished, he tells us this thing with Rosie feels too good to be true.
Probably because it is. All right. It's confession time, and it totally doesn't go the way Ford expected. He's telling West. West tells Ford he's a dork, and Rosie is an oblivious hurricane, and the only two people on the planet who weren't aware that Ford is in love with Rosie were the two of them. Essentially, he's like, you have my blessing.
You dumbasses.
You dumbasses. There are conditions to the blessing, though. Ford must stay on the bowling team. He must wear a team t-shirt and be happy about it. And he must attend bi-weekly bowling practice. For the record, they only bowl league bi-weekly, so they will then be bowling weekly.
He's like, practice?
What?
For this shit?
For this? This is supposed to be fun. Then it's time for the naming of the team. Bash shows up and Ford is like, I didn't realize that everybody was going to be here. Like, why is he here? Bash takes a jab at Scotty being fired because Ford's in love with Rosie, proving that literally everyone knew. Tabby then brings in this mountain of a man to replace Clyde, who's in the hospital because he's having kidney issues, referencing him as a, quote, big bitch, end quote, before telling the guys that the man is, in fact, a father, because you have to be a dad to be on the bowling team. Mm-hmm. The team name ends up being the Ball Busters, thanks to Tabby, and the guys get to practicing. West tells Ford he's happy for the two of them as they head over to their lane. So it didn't go quite like when Brooks and Emmy started dating and Done and Dusted, and Gus punched him right in his fucking face.
Right in his fucking face. Yeah, he thought he was going to be pissed off, but
Little did he know.
it's all good in the hood. All right, Ford drops all formality in his emails to Rosie, and she calls his ass out for it. His final email to her before arriving to the office is about her being on her hands and knees, scrubbing the paint stain when he gets there. She's not, but they do a little kissing before being caught by West, who tells them to hang a sock on the door or something in warning. He's been surprisingly sweet about the pair being together, telling Rosie if he could build her a boyfriend like Build-A-Bear, it would come out as Ford Grant.
So cute.
It is so cute.
I know.
West mentions the bowling shirts, which has Rosie laughing. Then it's time for the charity gala in Emerald Lake.
That's my soul-off alarm.
Ford has picked out a beautiful dusty pink number for Rosie to wear, and he's in a midnight blue tux. He makes a joke about taking her back to the room and ripping it off of her, and she tells him if he ruins the dress, she will break up with him, and then freaks out because she feels like she's prematurely slapped a label on things.
Oh, no, not
He
a
doesn't-
premature label.
Oh my gosh.
He's only been in love with you since he was 16.
He only wears your diary ring around his neck.
Yeah. He only stalked your favorite potato chips, but that's besides the point.
Right. Got you all them wings. He doesn't seem to bat an eye, though, because he has his hand on her lower back as they enter the gala.
The gala. It was for forest fires, by the way.
Thanks. I forgot.
You're welcome. As they round a corner, their photo is taken. Ford is pissed because he doesn't like his photo taken without his consent. The journalist they're speaking to then asks, and he's like, sure. She kind of like shows the picture and he's like, wow, look at how good we look together. When the journalist
Look at us.
look at us. When the journalist asks who Rosie is, Ford surprises Rosie by introducing her as his girlfriend. Inside the gala, Rosie bumps into one of her old colleagues who tells her Stan's company is going under. The same thing keeps happening over and over. They move to a new office and then get an immediate eviction notice. Rosie is super sharp. She's like, oh my God, I know what's happening, but I'm not going to say anything yet. She continues to catch up with her friend, and once they're done, she turns to Ford and she's like, we need to have a little chat in private.
Yes, the third act conflict
has arrived.
has arrived.
Strap your tits down, ladies. I'm sorry.
Write 'em in. They end up leaving the party and ride in silence back to where they're staying. Once inside, Rosie yells at him. He tells her exactly how much he spent on real estate in Vancouver to exact his revenge on Stan. And she tells him she's not worth that much. He tells her that she's priceless to him, and then they have intense makeup sex, ending with Rosie telling Ford she loves him.
He spent like tens of millions of dollars on real estate
So
to just continue
much
to
money.
evict.
Like just buying like skyrise
Yes.
buildings.
Yes.
Just so he could own them and evict this man.
Love that.
So Rosie tells Ford she loves him. He tells her he's always loved her.
Yeah, not to be, not to one up you or anything, girl, but I've always loved you.
But wait, there's more drama.
Ford wakes up the next morning to his phone vibrating. His lawyer has been trying to get a hold of him. This dumbass was like, hey, West, I need you to help me on my quest for revenge. So West was arrested in Vancouver because he punched Stan in the face. He tells Rosie as much, and she's like, what the fuck? She's betrayed because Ford told her secret to West, and she tells him that she expected loyalty from him even over her brother. She tells him she's booking her own flight back to Calgary, and hopefully Tabby can pick her up and drive her back to Rose Hill to be there for her niece and nephew when it's time for them to come to their dads because they're at their mom's right now and somebody needs to be there for those damn kids. He apologizes to her. She ignores him, tossing out that she quits before leaving the hotel room.
Rosalie is mad.
She's pissed.
Pissed, right? Pissed.
Straight up.
Ford makes his way into the police station and sees West yucking it up with a police officer. As it turns out, West can make friends anywhere and got the cops on his side by buying them donuts. Yum.
Sounds about right.
It also turns out that he didn't attack Stan and merely defended himself against him, which I didn't quite understand this whole
So
event.
West was the one who was constantly serving the eviction notices.
Okay. That's the
Okay.
part that I missed.
Yeah,
I must
so
have tapped out while
That's how
listening.
he got roped in. And so when Stan saw West again, he freaked out and charged.
He's like, mother dick.
Not again.
All right. They end up leaving and seeing Stan on their way out. Ford drops some threats. I thought it said treats.
Treats out of his pocket like Stan's a dog.
It's like one of those nasty ass Cliff Bars from Rosie's car. Ford drops some threats before they head to town. Why can't I frickin' read? Ford drops some threats before they head to the town car he rented. He and Wes talk on the car ride, and Wes jokes about Ford breaking up with him. Then Ford is lost in thought about how pissed Cora is going to be to know he messed things up with Rosie.
She's going to be flaming mad.
Cora's going to be very upset.
So Rosie actually has Ford's mom pick her up from the airport because she's that petty. She and Gemma small talk until they're about to pull into Rose Hill. And then Gemma hits her with the, he's a total goner for you. She gives Rosie advice, but what stands out most is the don't make it easy for him, make him grovel a bit. She ends up dropping Rosie off at Wes's house, where Rosie proceeds to hop the kids up on sugar before going to the dock when Wes comes home. On the dock, she finds a deed and a sign that reads, Rosie's Dock. Ford is swimming his laps. She watches him, and then he ends up treading water while they talk. He apologizes, and then Rosie jumps into the water with him telling him she needs to be mad at him until tomorrow. At exactly 11:59 p.m., she hears a knock on her door. Ford is there telling her it's officially tomorrow, and he can't stand being away from her any longer. He also tells her he wants her to be his business partner for Rose Hill Records. Then they get down to business. Off page this time.
Yes. No details.
No details.
Use your imagination.
We've got this. We're literally almost done.
I know. I have to leave in 4 minutes. Okay. It's Cora's end of year party for her friends. All the tweens are watching WWE. That's still on.
Yeah.
And Rosie is trying to explain to Ford why teen girls might like to watch sweaty men in leotards. She goes to open the door and let West and his kids in when Marilyn talks to Ford about Cora and asks if it was a burden to have her. He is sad that she has to leave, but Marilyn has other plans, like moving to Rose Hill. Then Cora calls out something if they can go on the boat, and Ford agrees. It's this moment that Cora refers to him as her dad for the first time. Later on, after all the kids have gone home, Rosie takes Ford to the studio and shows him that she had a plaque made for the paint splotch, now titled Wild Love, Paint on Lumber, by Rosalie Belmont and Ford Grant.
Like the sex canvas. Okay, so in the epilogue, you like my bare bones nose? Okay,
the
so
one sentence.
In the epilogue, Cora and Rosie are hanging out, and Cora kind of mentions to her that she has never played Bloody Mary, and she wants to. And then Rosie's like, Bloody Mary? Like, where you spin 10 times and say Bloody Mary faster and faster? And Cora's like, yeah, let's do it. So they're doing it in the bathroom. All the lights go out. The lights come back on. Ford is in there. He is trying to propose to her in the bathroom, sir.
I know.
Hello? So she's
on.
like, if you want to marry me, you have to catch me. And she runs away from him down to the dock. Does he toss her into the lake?
I think he tosses her into the lake and then jumps in.
Yeah, he throws her into the lake, jumps in. She agrees to marry him. There's another diary entry. I forget what it said. And that's that.
And then I think he shoves the ring onto her finger.
Yeah, he does. He jams that thing on there.
And I loved it.
Me too.
I really loved it.
Me too. So I personally am a huge fan of Elsie's writing. It is like a form of a drug to me. I will start it and not be able to stop myself from reading it. There is something about the way that she writes her male main characters. She writes the hell out of her male main characters. If I were to have a top 10, at least 4 of her male main characters would be in that top 10. And I don't take that lightly. Now, I want to do a new thing when we go through these, and I want to give a horniness rating. It's out of 10. What's your horniness rating out of 10, Cal?
I don't know. I'd say maybe like a 3.5 or a 4.
Okay.
Like, it wasn't pure smut, but there was more sexy time in this book compared to First Time Caller.
Yes, agreed. So First Time Caller would have been like a 2 for me. This one's like a 3 out of 10. 3 out of 10.
But the sex scenes are written well.
They are.
So
fan myself a little.
Yes.
So
go pick it up.
Go pick it up. What did you rate the book?
Ooh, out of 5?
Yeah.
I would say 4.1.
And I think I put 4.25.
Yeah.
Could be wrong. Could be wrong. Just follow us on Fable if you want to know.
Yeah, we'll list it there.
It's linked below. When this episode goes out, we will be posting a poll for the next Smut Clurb. Follow us there.
Yes.
Follow us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Go on TikTok. We are so close to meeting our goal for the giveaway.
Yeah, we need 7 more.
7 more.
7 more. Hopefully in the next couple days.
Yeah.
We'll be posting our
giveaway.
Hopefully by the time this airs, we'll have given away the
Butcher and Black. Yeah, Ruinous Love trilogy.
Ruinous Love.
Okay, we have to go pick up her daughter. So
Bye.
Bye. Love you. Bye.
Hope this episode blew your tits right off.
Blew them off.
Love you.
Clean
Bye.
off. Bye.